In this video, we're going to be talking about the configuration menu. I arrived here from System and then Configuration. So in this menu, you'll have the option to change all sorts of stuff that revolves around the configuration of your site. So notice in this first General tab, we have country options. These are the countries that you're going to allow to sell to. If you want to only sell to one country in particular, you can just select. Let's say we want to sell to the United States. To select multiple countries or all of them, we can hold Shift at the bottom, scroll all the way to the top, hold Shift and click to select all. So here you can select which postal code is optional for the following countries, European Union countries. There are a lot of options in here, so we may not be able to go over them all. However, feel free to click through here and see exactly what they are. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. So next we have store information. Here we're going to want to put our store information, so the store name would be Our New Store. This is going to be whatever your store name is. Here we can put a telephone number. I'm going to make mine fictional. And what country you're based out of. So I'm based out of the United States, I'm going to say United States. Here you can also put your store contact address or your VAT number if you'd like. If we click Save Configuration up here, this is going to update this information. Great, you'll get this message that says your configuration has been saved. Make sure that after you've changed anything, you click Save Config so that this information gets saved correctly. Under Web, we're going to see some other things. We've actually been here before when we changed our base URL. If you see Use Web Server Rewrites, you can select that to Yes. URL options, add store code to URLs. Notice how there's a warning here. This is set to No for a reason. I'm actually going to leave all this stuff set to the default settings. We're not going to have to modify these base URL settings again right now unless we have an SSL certificate that we've installed and want to modify that. For default pages, the default web URL is CMS. The default CMS homepage is going to be your homepage. So this is going to be when people are browsing your site for the first time, what page it is. You might not have to change this in anything, you'd just want to modify this homepage content itself. Notice how there's a CMS no route page. This is going to be your 404 page, enable cookies page. And this is saying if you want to show breadcrumbs for your CMS pages, we do. Next, we have polls. So this is going to allow or disallow people from voting multiple times from the same computer. Now, this is going to be your cookie lifetime, and this is going to be how long the cookies last. So we don't need to modify this. For session validation settings, we do not need to modify these either. These are all advanced settings that we shouldn't have to touch. Right out of the box, the session cookie information should be fine for you. This here is going to let your customers know if they have JavaScript disabled. JavaScript is required for these Magento stores, so you're going to want to make sure your customers are using JavaScript. Now, let's go to design here. Here, we can change our theme, we can do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm actually going to be going over this in a video later on in this same section and show you how to modify your theme. Now under currency setup, we have currency options. We're using the US dollar. Here you can change it to whatever your base currency is going to be. But since we set this up, when we set up the store, we shouldn't have to modify this either. Under store email addresses, this is if you have multiple email addresses to have people contact your store from. A general contact, you can give it a name and an address, sales representative, customer support, and then you can have two custom ones that you can assign to different tasks when people email you for different reasons. Now we have contacts. We have contact us. Do you want to enable this? We say yes. And email options. So this is going to email the contact us to this email, one of these email senders that we've already made, and the email template is going to be using this default template. When we create a new transactional template, you'll see that option in this dropdown. Next, under reports, this just lets you tweak the dashboard a little bit, changing your year-to-date and currently monthly stats. Under content management, we have the options of enable the WYSIWYG editor by default. The WYSIWYG editor is the text editor that you see when you modify a CMS page. Now we have a lot more options here. We have catalog, and catalog allows you to do all sorts of things with your products based on what grid the size they're in, how many products are being showed up, the way they're sorted, and what options are available to your users. This is asking if you want a tree-like category sitemap, and you can turn that on. This is if you want product reviews to be on, product alerts. You can alert when product price changes and all sorts of stuff like that. If you'll notice, there's lots of options in here. Because this video is just an overview, I just want to give you an idea about what's in each of these sections. You'll notice, based off these headlines, you should be able to get a good idea about what's in here, but usually if you need to tweak a setting on your website, it's in the system configuration. So next, under inventory, we can set if stock is decreased when an order is placed, stuff like that, what the only X left threshold is. This gives you an option of saying which products become out of stock and when. Under Google Sitemap, it allows you to change the frequency and the priority of different pages in your Google Sitemap. This is useful because it lets Google know how much to check your site. Now in RSS feeds, you can turn on your RSS feeds, which are all turned off by default. This allows you to notify people of new products and special products, that kind of thing, based off of RSS. Now, email templates, this is email to a friend. So if you're going to be emailing a product to a friend, which is an option on the products page, you can turn that on here and set the template this way. Newsletter is going to be the newsletter subscription options. This just allows you to choose the default templates and the email senders which they're being sent from. Under customer configuration, this allows you all sorts of customer options, whether they need a CAPTCHA on the front end. Here's some address templates, login options, create new account options, online customer options, and account sharing options. So anything you want to tweak your customer accounts is going to be in here. Wishlist, this is going to be where you manage your wishlist options. This is basically if it's enabled or not, and what templates you're using when you choose to share your wishlist with another customer. Again, with promotions, auto-generated specific coupon codes, this sets the code length, the code format, and you can give this customization just in case you have codes that you're already using or a way that you like to generate your codes. Persistent shopping cart, this can turn on or off the persistent shopping cart. By default, it's disabled. Now, if we go under sales, this is going to be our sales configuration options. So this is the things that the customer is seeing, the invoice packing slip design. You can add a logo to your PDF here, change the address. You can have a minimum order amount. You can show aggregated data in the dashboard. And gift options, you can allow gift messages on an order level or gift messages on an order item. Next, we have sales emails. So when certain transactions happen, and let's say an order is placed or when an order is placed or set to be invoiced or shipped, it's going to fire out an email to the customer. This is where you can change the template and what email sender it is being sent from. Here in PDF printouts, this is going to be where you modify your PDF printouts. There isn't a whole lot of options here, just display order and ID and header. Now tax, this is going to be where you have your tax set up. We're going to have a whole video on how to set up your tax, so don't worry about that. Next, checkout. We have our checkout options. This is going to enable a one-page checkout, which basically allows your users to check out without having to reload multiple pages. Now, shopping cart, and all sorts of stuff like that. Anything you need to tweak is in here. Now our shipping settings, this is just going to be the origin and the option, so if you allow shipping to multiple addresses, and where it exactly is shipping from. However, if you want to set up your actual shipping methods, that's under here. We'll go over this in an entire video in itself. For Google API, this is where you can hook into Google Analytics or Google Checkout. And if you're using Google Checkout as a payment gateway, then this is where you go right here to enable. Next, we have payment methods. Under payment methods is where we can choose to use PayPal as a payment gateway. There's also Authorize.net and saved credit card, check or money order. Pretty much any of your payment methods are going to be right under here. Of course, we're going to be talking about these in a video of their own. Next, we have payment services. 3D secure credit card validation. This is if you have this service available, you can put in this information here. And money bookers. This is if you're using a money bookers account. You can do so by configuring it and adding it here. Next, we have Magento Core API. You shouldn't have to touch anything here. This is just going to be the character set, the client session timeout, that kind of stuff. And then under Admin System, Advanced and Developer are really advanced things that you shouldn't have to get into unless you're wanting to modify some of the more advanced themes on your site, or let's say you're building a theme or something like that. So this is the configuration section. It's big. Feel free to click around. You're going to want to see and know exactly what's in here because you're going to be using it quite frequently when setting up your store.